the clock on the computer. Just to help the chairman.
1 minute.
Okay,
Is everybody section this town?
okay, members, the time has arrived for the meeting. We're gonna start with the pledge of allegiance. Correct. Greg, would you lead us to the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball.
Thank you. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Would the secretary please call the roll?
President Esmond,
Here.
Director Carey,
Here.
Director Ewald,
Here.
Director Urbanbach,
Here.
Director Ellis. Here. Director Graves.
Here. Quorum being present, the meeting will be called to order. I think we normally do introductions of guests tonight. We've got our general manager, Bo Anderson, our assistant manager, Josh Simpson, Evelyn Pyburn, with Yellowstone County News, correct?
Right.
Mark Kerber, customer of the district, welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, anybody online, Josh, that's also participating?
Nope.
Okay. During the course of the meeting, the public may be heard before a vote is cast. I will acknowledge the public once the motion has been made and discussed by the board for their input. I'll recognize speakers. If you raise your hand, we would ask you to come up and, I believe you have signed into the list, but if you'd come up, introduce yourself by name, and please spell it for our secretary so we can get it correctly in the minutes. I'd appreciate that help for her. Make your comments for up to 3 minutes. When we get to the agenda items, you can speak one time on the agenda item. And then unless we have additional comment requested by a director board meeting, and that'll be up to the board whether to permit that or object. No more comments will be made then, and the board will discuss and move toward resolution. I do want to respond to a couple of some feedback I got after the last meeting. There was I heard from a number of board members that there were members of the public a little frustrated because we hadn't responded to questions. And we're going to attempt to experiment with that tonight. We've got a small crowd to experiment with, so you'll have to behave yourself. But the reason is, my chairmanship duty, primarily my experience is primarily as a legislator. And the format there is a little different. It's not an executive governing body like this body is. It's strictly a policy body. So the format there is the sponsor makes a presentation of the bill. And then the chairman calls for proponents and opponents, usually proponents first. They give their testimony, and then it calls for opponents and they give their testimony. And then it goes to questions from the committee, and those are usually addressed from the committee to the members of the public about the testimony that they offered. So this board, however, is a little bit different because we are a policy and an executive committee. So from that standpoint, we make decisions. And so from that standpoint, if there are questions that people have that, I think are seeking information and are non-combative, I'm going to give, I'll ask the board if somebody wants to address it. I hope we get an informative response. if a board member may have a different opinion, they should offer a differing opinion. I think two would probably be enough. We'll see how it works. You know, if it, you know, I don't, we've had, we need to have respectful conversations. There's been some challenges this country has gone through lately because we haven't had respectful conversations. That's gonna be my driving force here. You know, I don't think the motives of the members of the public or the motives of the members of the board should be a question. What can be questioned or subject to debate. We've had that happen. I'm not gonna, anybody who does that, I'm gonna call out of order. You know, what's appropriate is discussion about the policy, not the people. And as long as we confine it to that, you know, let's give it a try and try to be responsive to the public, because that's what we're here for, is to represent the interests of the customers of the district. So we were elected 5 of the board members. I was appointed by the city. So I'm not really representing their interests. But, you know, I'm here doing the best I can in terms of playing a role here. And I have been a customer of the district for 42 years now. So I'll try to play it straight, be responsive. So those are my remarks. Now is the time for public comment and questions to the board on non-agenda items. Do we have any? Any online, Josh?
No, I just Doug.
Okay, seeing none. We'll skip responding to questions since we had any. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Any motions for additions or deletions? Members, I'm gonna make a motion to delete one item. I would like to delete item number 2 under new business. That's the caption is RFQ for audit of the 2025 financials. An RFQ is a request for qualifications, and that to me means you advertise it, you make the availability known, and you solicit interested parties. What we got was not an RFQ. This is a resolution with a contract that's already signed by the party that has done the audits in the past. I'm making this motion because I do think we should go through an RFQ process this time. At previous meetings, we've, you know, discussed this. There was an item on the asset list that was the general manager discussed as a dead item. And, you know, we've had previous meetings where we discussed that, you know, at the district asset list was not up to date. And frankly, I think that if there may be no one else interested, but there may be somebody interested, and I think we might benefit from a fresh set of eyes on our books, asking questions, wondering if, you know, what's this, what's that, and get these financials cleaned up properly. I think it's incumbent on us to have a set of clean financials. I will state my opinion is I think that we have a pattern of a lot of long time service providers, you know, auditor, investment counselor, you know, engineering firm that have had contracts for a long time without any competition from alternate providers. And I think, you know, when you have a situation like that, people get too comfortable and, you know, start letting things slip because they don't feel their work is being judged or that they have to compete for it. And I think it's time that we, you know, start looking at competition for all these major relationships. So I'd like to make a motion to remove item 2 so we can bring it, put out an RFQ properly and see if we can generate any interest.
I'll second it for discussion.
Thank you. I think I've said my piece, so
Anybody?
any other discussion?
I agree.
Call on you, Mr. Simpson.
Yeah, I have no problem with going up for an RFQ. The one thing that I would caution against is it's September. We don't get it done till October. These financials have to be reported to the state first of the year. So I don't know if the timing component is there to get a fresh set in, come in, do the report and have it turned in by the due date.
I'm also aware that there's a lot of local governments and local counties, et cetera, that are turning these audits way late. You know, it's a problem all over the state. It's not, as far as I know, nobody's ever been penalized for that.
We got,
Frank Fletcher County, for example, didn't get an audit done for 5 years. And, you know, and the school district up there was the same. So, you know, I think we can do our best, you know, as long as we communicate with who we have to report to and explain why. I think we would be fine, but it's up to the board. Director Ellis.
Also, isn't Josh's comment are not quite correct. I think we just have to have an opening balance to the state. And we did get fined $100 a month for a couple of months several years ago because the auditor assumed that the staff had the capability of doing that and did it regularly, and they had always had the auditor do it for them, and there was no communication. So the audit doesn't have to actually be complete, they just need an opening number.
Thanks for the history. Further discussion? Director, thank you for your comment. Yes, and please on each item tonight, offer your opinion before we make a decision.
Oh.
Because we want to work with you cooperatively and collegially, and I want to avoid any criticism of the board or their decisions after the vote is taken. So I will try to remind me to call upon you before we vote, if I fail to.
So, before I took this job, I tried to figure out who is the Heights Water District. So, coming out of the private sector, cash flow is all there is, as far as I'm concerned. So I reviewed all your audited report and I did all sorts of calculation, and I believe I shared most of that with you, and I very quickly determined that the Heights Water District was going nowhere. And I have looked at the audits, and I don't know if you look at the quality audits, how you compare who audits the auditor, kind of a thing. And when I dug into a lot of these things, it just wasn't there. And so in business, timely, accurate, you got to be able to verify. If it's timely and not accurate, and I don't know how interested you are in the audited reports, but they are documents, they are roadmaps, they give you trends, they give you, and we have to maintain certain ratios for these loans. So the audits are important, they should be timely, and they need to be accurate. So I totally agree with our president, our chairman, that we need to review the way the audits are made. They're late and they're somewhat inaccurate. I like the guy. I think he does good work, but I would spend more time on producing accurate and more timely financial reporting, because based on that, it's the future. We can't go out and borrow money unless we have good, accurate financial information, and I do not believe we do.
Thank you, Bob. Further discussion? Director Urbanbach?
I believe we do need an audit because it's useful in many things, because it looks, it kind of keeps all the employees honest, reasonably honest. But it's also used for folks that we do loans with and other business. kind of a roadmap on what you're doing is a third party that's saying, yes, we believe that these are reasonable and can be looked at. So I'm in favor of getting another party in here to do the audit. I think it's necessary.
Director Carey, do you wish to make a comment?
No, I concur with what I've heard.
Sounds terrible.
We wish you get well soon, Director Carey. Seeing no further discussion, let's try a voice vote. All those in favor of deleting item number 2, the RFQ for audit from the new business item on the agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion, all opposed? Motion passes. Any further motions? Director Ewald.
If we're removing stuff that's not in order, I would like to remove approval of second meter connection. And if we can get a second on it, then I'll give you my discussion.
I'll give you a second for purposes of discussion.
All right, so both in the interstate engineering study on the second connection, and we ended up, we paid interstate engineering to do 3 options. And each one has its different parts. The option 1 that's in this is, that's the only one we got a price on, the other one's the only, we never even got a price on. And we're hooking from a 12-inch to a 12-inch. And we need to keep St. Andrews Pump Station running with this one. The way I understand it from reading through their report, if we do, we hook to the city's 24-inch and run a parallel line down, 18-inch line down Wicks to Inverness Station. The capacity is way greater. And we don't have to have St. Andrews Pump Station running. And wouldn't it be great to have St. Andrews Pump Station as a backup if we needed it? I really think it would be. I looked at the third option and I went and drove the intersection, and we have to buy property to do the third one, and I couldn't see any place that we would be willing to get rid of property. Right. But I would like to see, as long as we're paying for the 3 studies, I would like to see the cost for each study. Because I'm not gonna make a decision on one when we paid for 3. And I was talking to Lewis from the city water today on other item on the agenda tonight. And he says the 24 inches about quadruple the amount of water that a 12-inch supply. That's 4 times. So I really think we need to look at it. We need to look at the cost, and we need to look at the time frame that this is gonna serve that Heights area, that Lake Hills area. So without having all 3 options in front of us to look at, I will not be in favor of voting on this one, so.
Further discussion? Director Ellis?
I don't actually think we have a price quota even on one option. The comment was made, we needed to hold off until Lewis Engels approved this plan. And what we got from Lewis Engels was 5 questions indicating that the plan is not complete. That doesn't indicate approval, nor is it his authority, I wouldn't think, to approve, but he asked the specifications on the meter, the specifications on the check valve. How are you gonna communicate, which is not a financial thing. And the continual flow of the water, through, assuming that the Inverness zone is found to be a separate zone, it just seems like. The other thing is the 814,000 includes 73,000 of engineering, but we've spent tens of thousands already on their studying. And their hydraulic modeling. So it's not even in the ballpark. And when the city offered to put in the second check valve for us, they said it would be good for 20 years, and that their cost was 500,000. So I would feel more comfortable, frankly, if we got a second opinion from a different engineering firm, just to confirm that the plans and are within bounds. To me, the price just, and I've never seen Interstate come in on budget. Now, they say this isn't a solid budget, I get that, but they escalate. And so I'm uncomfortable approving this, given the unanswered questions and the high cost compared to what the city was willing to do it for.
Further discussion? Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, the original, if you look at the original PER, it was pegged at 930,000. Thereabout. I don't know if you've seen the latest correspondence between Lewis and Interstate Engineering, but he basically gave them the green light and let revisit it at 30% completion. And I was a little surprised about that because normally the city wants to own the meter. You pay for it, but they own it, operate it. And that, he didn't say that. I was surprised. But we have walked the property all around there with Interstate Engineering. And the recommendation they come up with is a very compact meter bolt. So it's prefabricated, and the bolt itself is about $175,000, and it comes on a tractor trailer, lifts in on our property. We don't have to buy any property, you don't have to lease anything. And it will be fenced in, and the city will have the key to it, and it will be below ground. It will not be objectionable to neighbors or the church right there. So the solution, when we look at it and discuss it, it's pretty obvious, but that's not what's important. What's important here is that it makes sense to the community and the people we serve in that area. So if you do the hydraulics, all three scenarios are okay. But running the 24-inch into that 12-inch, yes, it's 4 times the flow capacity in the 24-inch line if you do the velocity calculation. But do they have that water quantity? The answer is probably no, and we don't need it in that area. In that we're servicing a very small little area. It's not the whole distribution. So from hydraulically, it's okay. Cost, environmentally. So the city have given us a green light. Is it expensive to do all this? Yes. I probably spent a couple of 3 hours going through all Interstate Engineering bills where they listed hydraulic modeling. You know, Doug, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you asked me how much more would it cost for us to go from alternative 5 to 4 to do the recalculation, and I think I might have said about 20,000-30,000, and all the modeling hours, just the hydraulic modeling from April to August is over 120 hours, about $22,000 just for the modeling. So it is Interstate taking advantage of this change up from alternative 5 to 4 and recalculation, as like Frank said, last time we did half of that should have been done in the peer review, you know. So I don't know where you want to go with this, but I suggest you move ahead. You know, the worst thing you can do is make no decision. And we can get alternative quotes from engineering outfit, construction company outfit that come into the yin yang. And it's going to be more expensive. What I see, I like, Josh, can you, all the discussions we have about this, I think the scenario looks very good.
That was, yeah, the discussion we had, the alternative that you and I preferred.
And the other ones don't come close, like cost wise. and convenient of operation. I think you like it. And we can have the, if the board wants, have the interstate making it a more. Well, we gotta have more hearings about it, but make a special presentation to show you how it will work. I think you'll be very pleased. I really do.
I'm gonna respond to that, I'm gonna support the motion to delete it because, frankly, I'm upset with the process. The process is wrong, when we looked at alternative 5. We had the rankings, I thought, frankly, the rankings were gamed. I asked Interstate Engineering, when does the board get our input? Well, you get it now. Well, no, we didn't get it now. We had no input on the ranking. And we've had no input on this decision. Staff and Interstate had input, but the board didn't. And we're the ones charged with making the decision on spending the money. I think the proper thing to do would have been to bring the supporting material that you just referred to, saying this is more expensive, this is why, just explain why this is the preferred option, but we did not get that opportunity. And I think going forward, we need to get that opportunity every time so we can fulfill our responsibility, which is, our responsibility is not to be a rubber stamp for Interstate Engineering or the staff. Our responsibility is to take care, represent our customers' interests, and we can't do that unless we get the supporting documentation up front, and we just need to draw a line in the sand and change this process. So that's my opinion. Director Ellis, and then I'll call for comments from the public. Ewald, excuse me. Please correct my mistake.
So
I'm gonna make many tonight.
when I read over that report that you
Yeah.
sent me.
Yeah.
I think they're saying that this will support the Lake Hills area for 20 years. Was that not what it says in that report? That's what I got out of it.
Right.
And so
All 3 of them would do hydraulically would do it.
for 20
Yeah.
years, but and see, without knowing the cost, I'm going like pulling that 18-inch down Wicks to our Inverness pump station. We're still on our own property. But we don't have to run St. Andrews pump station. It would be really neat if we needed the pump station, we could turn it on. If we're running the pump station all the time and then we need it, we can't turn it on higher. Right? I don't know the difference in the cost because that's a big top secret. And all they said about the 2 other options is we're gonna be tying up streets. Well, look around Billings right now. You can't go anyplace without taking a detour. And if they run a parallel line down Wicks, it's
Yeah.
just when they're out in the intersections, the only time it's gonna affect the whole intersection. After that, it's coming down alongside.
Yeah.
And so you can still have traffic going through.
But, yeah.
But I think he asked you a question, you can respond.
So, what's interesting here is that all 3 scenarios hydraulically will solve our issue. So it kind of boils down to the cost, the convenience, timing, maintenance, the city and all that. And we have had discussion with them on these 3 scenarios, not the end game, but they have their report. And I like to suggest that Interstate Engineering make a presentation on the 3 scenarios so you can make a decision. And we kind of preempted that by selecting 2. Because to us, it was so obvious. Okay. So our apology, but it was hydraulically engineering, dollars and cents. It's a sharp solution. And Lewis, I've seen it. No problem, they have rubber stamped it. And this is what we wanted before this meeting. We wanted to have their blessing on this project.
Well,
And we
sure,
had that.
it would have been nice to have prices and pros and cons. They just says, you're paying us for 3 options and then this is the option you get. Why are we paying for 3 options if this is the option you get?
No, we went through with all the 3 options. And I've sent that to the board, the 3 options, the drawings and,
But there's no cost involved in any of it.
no,
None of the modeling backup.
right.
So I think that's the
And
frustration.
whether you get 5 or 10 more years out of option 2 or option 3 because you're hooking into the 24 instead of the 12 to a 12. I don't know, but I can see where there could be a benefit, but does the cost outweigh the benefits? And we don't have that.
Further questions from the discussion from the board? Questions from the, comments from the public? Saying none, I guess we're ready for a vote. The motion is to delete item number 1 under new business so that staff and interstate can come back with their full report of their proposal. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Director Ellis,
Yes.
Director Urbanbach,
Yes.
Director Ewald,
Yes.
Director Graves,
Yes.
Director Carey,
Yes,
Director Osmond.
Yes. The motion passes unanimously. 1 is off the agenda. We'll put it on a future agenda when the general manager lets.
Mr. Chairman,
Director Carey.
I know this is late coming for me, but that's just the way I talk and that's the way my mind on course season works. But should we not put a date on that? We want them to respond to us by such and such a date, so we don't go down the road and just keep going down the road.
That's a great suggestion. What would you like to suggest a date?
I would say by the 10th of next month. And I just grabbed that out of the air, so,
So what you're saying is before the next meeting?
yeah,
Okay. I think staff can communicate that without board acting on it. Okay, further motions on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. You've all seen the minutes. Do you have any amendments to offer?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from August 20th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Director Ewald, seconded by Graves, to accept the minutes from August 20. Director Elf.
I have a lot of corrections that I sent in, but they weren't corrected.
But yeah, the time to make the corrections is
Yeah.
here.
So under the public comment section, Mike Mackey's name is spelled wrong. It's spelled correctly later, but his name is Macki, not Macky.
Okay.
You want, I can send these to you as long as they go through. Page 5, it's not an AWA manual, it's the AWWA manual, and that occurs twice. Page 6. We've got Director Ewald discusses his and Director Ellis's work. Actually, the committee was Director Ewald, Ellis, and General Manager Anderson, and all 3 of us met and agreed to recommend Samsara. So it should be the committee's work, not just the 2 of us. Page 7, Director Urban, starts with Director Urbanbach. There will be a meeting, will be scheduled soon. One of the will be should be get crossed out. Then page 7. This is a little more, Director Ellis says that the funds in Stifle Smart Money account are not FDIC insured above 250,000. And state law does not allow the district to invest in mutual funds. I don't know the rule on FDIC, but I know we can invest in mutual funds, so those should be separated. Page 7, I guess, no, oh, no, so that's it. Do you want me to send those to you in writing?
If those are all the ones we talked about in email, I have a version of the minutes with those corrections. We just had to talk about them here.
Okay. And I know I brought one other one. Oh, Director Carey, page 7. Director Carey says he does not believe that the board is knowledge. I'm sure he said that he doesn't believe the board is knowledgeable. So. Okay, I'll send them to you just so you got them
Sure.
in one place. If they get it approved.
Do you have a motion to approve those
Okay, I make.
basically clerical corrections?
Right, I make a motion, to correct the minutes as presented by.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Okay. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the proposed clerical amendments to the minutes, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, nay.
Nay,
Carry is no. So. Then she's got her direction, thank you. Lena, you're breaking into a new job, you're doing a great job, thank you for your work for the board, so.
I have
Okay.
something that's related to minutes, but can I,
Well, what's the topic, and I'll see if.
well,
it's
our minutes
appropriate.
are not being posted on the website. They haven't been posted since May. So. That needs to.
I think that's covered in the manager's report a little bit, so let's bring
Well,
that
no,
up
he-
then,
Okay, all right.
see where the progress is, so. Okay, consent agenda is next on the item number 10. Is there any discussion? Does anybody want anything separated? Director Ewald.
Separate number 2.
Okay. Further request for separation, Director Ellis.
I would like to separate number 1 for the purpose of asking a question.
Okay. Take both, is there any further motions for separation or request for separation?
I'm gonna make a motion, we accept these consent agendas, items 3 through 9.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Director Ewald, seconded by Graves to approve consent agenda items 3 through 9. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Okay, we'll move items 1 and 2 then down to, I guess, old business is where we
Usually take care of them
right away. Is that the format the city has done?
yeah.
Okay, that's fine
No way.
with
Keep
me.
it in continuity.
I appreciate the suggestion. Thank you. I'm still kind of adjusting to this different committee.
Yeah, sure.
So coaching is appreciated. So let's take up item number 1 then, prepaid bills for approval. Director Ellis, you had a question.
Yeah, I have a couple from the prepaid bills. So Energy Labs, the last few months, we've had a lot of charges for lead and copper testing. Are we doing some that for federal purposes or? Because I haven't seen lead and copper testing in the past.
Every 3 years,
Okay,
we're required to take 30 samples every 3 years.
okay,
And those 30 samples are taken by homeowners, so they don't all get returned at the same time. There's a retention time on those samples, so when we get a batch in 3 or 4 days, we take that batch in. And then we just gotta keep waiting until we get all 30 samples back.
yeah, because when they test for the regular water testing, you've got to get it in within 24 hours.
Right.
So, okay. And then the other thing, there's several more that, our expenditures on meters have, last year, I think we spent 23,000 and this year we budgeted 117,000. Is that because our meters are failing? I mean, that's 5 times the
Well, I
not
think
2 years.
one of the big thing, what I understand with our meters, is that they're also reaching that 20-year life
Grand-
cycle, so they're dying off.
The
batteries
transponder
are
have a
good.
20-year rated battery. We're hitting the end of that, so we're starting to get electronics that aren't sending the signal. So if we see them for 2 months they don't read for 2 months in a row, they go on a list, the guys go out and change them. Transponders, unfortunately, they're expensive. So
So do we know how many are at, do we have a count of how many are at the 20-year cycle? Is 117,000 gonna cover it, or?
It's substantial.
we're getting anywhere from what, 14 to 25 or so month that are failing. And then I gotta play the back order game, so I have to order enough in advance, because some of them I might end up sitting on back order for 6 months before I get a shipment. So I gotta order enough to have enough on hand, so we're sitting on a higher quantity of inventory than we would normally need to, but I have to because I don't know how many. It's kind of up and down every month with what we're having to replace.
I know the city just automatically replaces, they have a replacement schedule. They keep track of the age, and at 20 years, they replace them. They don't wait for them to fail, but, because I knew that was the
Well, there is another expense involved with this, of course, is that you don't get the meter reading. If you don't get a meter reading, you don't get the income. So you go back and you change it. So it's a waste of time for the drivers, and it's frustrating. So having a schedule to replace them is a good one. Plus obviously Josh can buy, let's say, 100 or 200 at a time, whatever that break is. And we just schedule District 16 or whatever, and just do it. And we can look into that. I don't know if they're less expensive if you buy 100 or 2,000. But we can try. But I'd like the preventive rather than chasing the smoke in the room. Let's figure out where the fire is, because we know what's gonna happen there.
They don't have replaceable batteries for those?
No,
No, they're kind of enclosed. So 20-year cycle, and they were all kind of installed during a 1 or 2 year period or something, Josh? I don't know.
Yeah.
So they're all coming due. So I think preventive is better than going out there and chase them, because you're gonna lose the meter reading. You guys gonna drive back and forth, so there is more cost involved here than just the meter. It's the lost revenue, lost time, and frustration.
So it suggests that the 115,000 may not be adequate. How much are they each? Like they're about 89, aren't they? That's 6 in my head, but,
no, it depends on the style,
okay.
the integral versus the pit set. So they're right about $200 a head, a total.
So 200 times 6,000 households, more than 6,000 households.
Well, I suggest we come up with a program, because that's
Yeah.
how many we have, what type, and have Josh come up with a purchasing budget. I want to do these in October, November, December, rather than chasing deadbeat meters and not collecting revenue, wasting time to replace.
Well, and my thought would be, winter's coming, so if you're not, you're gonna be done testing hydrants here pretty quick. And, that kind of thing, so you could put those same 2 people to work, It's swapped out till, spring rolls around again, you go start on the fire hydrant program, just effective use of your labor.
Right.
So,
Please bring us back a proposal. It makes sense, that we can take a look at.
so my third point on paid bills. We have a bill to pay to AWWA for $2,848. for membership for Josh and Clay. I don't see the purpose for that. Membership gives you a discount on the books, but you still have to pay them. We can advertise nationally if we have an opening, but we never have. So it looks like it's 1,020 per individual, so it seems like if one individual's a member, in the past, we have paid for the general manager and the manager, the assistant manager. But to me, it's $1,000 that I don't see how it's justified.
Director,
I was.
excuse me, general manager. Please. She asked the question, you can answer.
I'll take the salary cut. So I emailed you a response.
You're already buying birthday cakes, sir.
I didn't get it, but it's probably because it just backed up.
That's all right, that's all right. I'm here to inform so that you can take a better decision. So what is the 2,000? It's a membership, it's a corporate membership. So you get free 2 members. So these 2 guys are members. That doesn't cost us any extra. So it's $1,000 per person. So what do they get? Well, we get publication updates on standards at least monthly. There's several different standards. Matter of fact, if you look at my bookcase, I updated a lot of those. AWWA, I've been a well over 20 years member. I pay for my own membership. And I've been sitting on a number of committees, backflow committees, control valve committees over the years. So it's the world's largest water municipal water association. And if you don't think we should belong, I'll be more than happy to pay Heights Water so they can belong.
No, that was never explained, and if you sent it to me, I didn't get it. I tried to read through,
Right,
but.
but no, there was something else in that email that bothered me too. Do you want me to tell you?
So what is it?
Well, I think it's off the topic of. her
Right,
question.
I think
No,
so.
I don't think you need.
It's a very sly remark.
Need to wander away. And
Right. I
I
agree.
spoke earlier about where we want to keep the discussion, and that's on the policy. So the question was, what's the $2,000 for? Basically, the answer is it's a corporate membership. 2 names were assigned. That's it. It's not going to be any more or any less. So
Okay,
you had your answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we ready to approve items 1 and 2 then?
Not 2.
no, I think that's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we ready to approve item number 1?
Or we can do them both, it's up to you.
Let's get 1 done.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve item number 1 on the consent
Make a
agenda?
motion.
I second it.
Once again, Ewald and Graves move in second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 2, Director Ewald, I believe that was your separation.
Let's see, I'm trying to figure out what page I'm on. Page 19. Just kind of roughly going through it, I'm coming up. Well, $1,400 that we're paying Interstate for leak detection and stuff, and I'm going like, why? Let's just get the guy from Postman here. He's done the job for us. Why are we paying Brad and Interstate? Like, to find a pathway for which way the water leak may go. How many hours did he put into that, and how valuable is it? I mean, I don't understand why they're getting involved when look at the good results we got out of the guy from Bozeman.
Well,
Yes.
I went through, I have a special ring binder, all the interstate engineering invoices. And I noticed a distinct pattern. So when I send them information about things going on here, they'll figure out how to do something. Not just this leak, but the AC pipe. There was a few other things. I distinct, a very distinct trail. So And I have done a lot of work for them, in certain areas. And I noticed, reading my reports, studying my reports, right, so I totally agree with you. Okay, so what do we do about it? Number one, I stopped sending them my reports. And I confronted Brad with that. You reading my reports and the things I sent to keep you updated, it's no good. This is for your benefit. That's not my benefit. You charge me for updating yourself on what's going on at Heights Water. So, and I went through, like I said, all the bills from February this afternoon, mainly to find out hydraulic modeling. How much have you charges since February? I went through all of that, many hours. And so that's a problem, okay? And there's something called a buyer beware. What you ask for them to do, they will do and bill you. If you don't ask for anything, they can't bill us. That's how it should be. And we operate on task order. Now, what task order does leak testing belong to? I don't know of any, okay? So we gotta cut those out first. You're reading my email, you can't charge me, you know? If you do something, you add value to the process, you help us finding the damn leaks. One of those, we send you the email, you follow, is hydrants. I thought it'd be interesting for them to know about a hydrant testing program. We're up to 93%, by the way. Don't charge me for reading our report.
I see you with.
So, but there is a distinct trail in their billing, and you don't pick up on it until you review all the bills. That's my email. I know what I send them. So it's a little echo chamber attached to an invoice. So I tell you something, you go back and say, yeah, great. There is a bill for 500. So it's our problem. It's Heights Water problem. So we have to be more careful when we contact Interstate. Is there a task order? Is it a project? Or is it a social conversation? Or are you trying to be nice, updating their files? No. So it really, part of that is our problem, the way we manage it. It's gotta be task order based. And we can't accept any bill that isn't told me it was task order. Or obviously a board resolution. Board resolution is a purchase order in my book. And is there a purchase order, a board resolution for engineering to work on our leaks? I don't think so.
Mr. President.
Director, we will.
I just want to point one out. Here's a bill for 2 hours, $384, letting us know we had an 1.5 inch hole in AC pipe on Hawthorne Lane. I mean, come on. That is not. I think we gotta put out an RFQ for an engineering for, let them know we're not happy.
We're getting close to that point, I think.
Right. I'm reviewing all the bills, and I started with hydraulic modeling because I know every other hydraulic modeling come out. It's been going on for 6 months, hydraulic modeling, you know. So the leak is our other consultant, and we have, for your information, he's very cost effective. We have had 4 bills from him totaling about 8,000. You guys authorized it some 15,000, so we're not even close. I talked to him yesterday about an issue that we're working on right now. He's very helpful. And so.
I'm gonna call on, I've got some other hands up.
Okay.
Director Urbanbach first and then Alice.
For the construction projects I used to work on, we had a change order process. And it sounds like we may need to do a more formal process with Interstate, requesting certain work and then them coming back and responding to that formally.
Right.
So we may need to set up something like a change order request that both parties are aware of and it's defined with what they're gonna do.
Well, just a thought here, I mean, can you direct all future billing to tie to a task order, and if it doesn't tie to one, it shouldn't be on the bill, inform them of that?
With that, to clarify some of this, is that we do have two different type bills, and I've asked them to bill us monthly. Before it was every other month or 3 months or so. And it was impossible to figure out how. So we are on the monthly billing. So there are two components. One bill is from what we call miscellaneous engineering. Well, because they are our engineering firm of record. So there are certain routine things that's being done. That's where part of the issues are, but the task order ones, I have to remind them to put that on the bill, the task order 28, 29, or whatever. It has to be assigned to a task order, and we will have new ones that we propose. And we need to be, obviously have a budget discipline, but I start working on the second meter connection. I'm setting up a time schedule, a project, and I've asked them for that, because this will help me with the board explaining your damn bills. Where is the process? Are we 75% finished and 90% budget? Or are we 45, 32? I like to say to the board, we're right on target. It's impossible.
Now, without a percentage of completion,
No,
because
it's impossible. Right.
do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah.
Director Offenbach?
I think we need to make a formal process, doesn't have to be complicated. That you request, this is what we're requesting, specify it, no more assumptions. You know, that's gonna be done, and we're gonna get the project we want, we need to get a little more specific. And I've seen that with the water board before, that there are too many assumptions that. If one party assumes we're gonna get a certain product, the other one assumes we're providing a different product, I think it needs to be a little more formal.
I can show you what I've set up for the second connection already. I have that. I think you'll be very happy, because if you can see something graphically, or it's easier, because these numbers, they just move, it's very difficult to get a hold of it.
Especially when you've got a 140-page document. I mean, the brain has got, you get it late, and how much capacity do you have to get through 140 pages and really do some comprehension? I mean, you're asking a lot over a weekend. So Director Ellis?
Well, some of the examples that I put down, the invoice 58406, which was revised, according to, when I looked at it, it may have been revised, it's got different stuff in it that they're charging for, but it comes to the same total, to the penny. So that seems a little bit odd, but Brad charged $192 to talk with you about why the city didn't inform us that there was a leak. I mean, that's just completely useless. We spent almost $400, $384, because apparently you asked them to give a capital cost for building a water treatment plant, and then that information was given to you and to Doug, or to Director,
Carrie?
yeah, Carrie. And the board did, first of all, that should never have happened. We don't have any water rights. There are no water rights for sale.
Yes, there are.
The PER shows that it's most cost effective to buy from the city. So if you're gonna go off and get amounts on a water treatment plant, I think you need board authorization to do that.
Right, but there was never a task order started for a new water plant, okay? And I never asked him to start a project with a new water plant. I know better. That's not what we want to do. So where did this start? Well, strangely enough, Jennifer Duray's email, I don't know if you saw it, I could send a copy. And she said that, why don't you start your own water plant? You looked into the water rights and, if you did that, you wouldn't have all the problems with the water rates. I can send that to all of you guys. It blew me away. It's crazy. So why did I do this? Because 2027, guys, we have to pay $4.7 million for the same amount of water we're buying now. For $4.7 million, how much? If that is interest and principal payments, how much is that for a water plant? Well, it's about $23 million if you work backwards. Will that do it? Well, we need at least a 10 MGD, 10 million gallons a day. Our peak is about 9. We run on the average right now 4.5, 5, 6 in August. So a 10 MGD plant will do it.
Getting off the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just asking,
Question about.
telling you where that number come from. So I have a responsibility to make sure that the Heights Water get the value for the money that we're paying, the city, or will be paying $4.7 million. What are our options? We don't have any option, we just pay. That's not true.
Yeah, so,
I would appreciate that you forward all emails from the city to the entire board, because I don't recall seeing that email.
right, and since we paid to have a cost estimate, that should have been forwarded to the whole board and not just to a single board member. And I asked for that information from Brad since we paid for it and didn't get a response.
Well, he didn't do any work on
Well, he charged $384 and he said he
that.
signed it to
That's
doing better,
part-
so
but he-
that's,
Right, correct, Rewald?
So, as far as date wise, on this page 19. I'm looking at dates from 4/23 to 6/18. Why are we getting a bill that old in September? So after I pull this, set it aside, I'd like to increase my motion to have the manager sit down with them and reduce those leakage costs. I mean, we knew we had an 1.5 hole in that AC pipe. We don't need $384 telling us we had a hole in our AC pipe. And I would encourage you to keep going with our Bozeman guy and leave these guys sitting. We do not need them to
No.
tell us that we got a hole in a pipe we've already fixed. So if that's my motion, that the manager try to get some of these numbers reduced or eliminated.
And bring them back to the next meeting.
Yeah, and we need more up-to-date billing, going back to 4/23, that's a long time.
It makes it difficult for the general manager to review, I'm sure.
Makes it difficult for anybody, so.
Is there a second on the motion?
can I add one other thing? So that same bill, although he changed it when he revised it, but the original bill showed that we spent $768 for him to write them for him to write the monthly report. And that includes him calling Josh to get the information and then putting it in his monthly report. To me, that should not be happening. If Josh has information, it should go to you and go in your report. Why would we pay Brad to talk to Josh to write something down that Josh knows? It has no value from engineering standpoint.
Do you have, could you send me that? So
Yeah.
I could talk to him about it.
Yeah,
I don't recall that one.
it's on every single month.
But I think we all talk the same thing here. We all know we have an issue.
So anyway, I'm done with that.
Okay, then we have a motion, do we have a second? For the motion?
So I make a motion that we not pay the bills from Interstate Engineering until the general manager has had a chance to talk with interstate engineering and remove the items that are not justified.
I think that constitutes a second for the original motion. They were both the same sense, so seeing no further discussion. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
I,
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Next on the agenda is item number 11. Manager's report. Are there any questions for the manager on the report? It's pages 52 to 78.
I can interject something that might be of interest to the board on the financial.
An update on your written report from last week.
Yeah, I think, we talked about this before, and that's the management of our money. Our current asset as of end of this past month, August, it's $10.5 million. Our current liability, 76,000. And I think it'd be advisable for this board to invite investment manager or have Steve or somebody to come and help us manage this portfolio of 10.6 million. I'm not saying you guys are not qualified, but I think you need to cover your tracks here.
Thanks for the suggestion. Perhaps you could amplify that for next month. You know, from my standpoint, I'm comfortable having ready cash in the bank. You know, I'm comfortable having it invested with the state of Montana. Because, you know, they haven't defaulted on anybody. The money's there in 48 hours. You know, if you feel there are risks prevented by this posture, you know, outline to us what you think they are, you know, and then give us something to think about, because, you know, your amount of financial sophistication with respect to large amounts of money with your corporate background is greater than ours. So it's gonna take a little bit of education here. So, let's take it step by step and, you know, try to, you know, let's, if you think it's a project we need to work on, tell us why, and then we'll make the decision whether we think we need to. That's my thought.
Right, it's just also that you might not want to do anything, that's okay, but at least you look into it. At least you look into options and verify what you're doing is the correct course of action. I'm not suggesting that anything is wrong here, but from past experience working with nonprofits and etc., it's always a good option to seek advice from professional people that handle money.
Director Evil.
okay, as much as I hate chain emails, I hate, these abbreviations more. What is COGS?
Cost of goods sold.
Cost of what?
Cost
Of goods sold.
of
Okay.
goods sold.
I was trying to make it
Yeah, I'm sorry.
go in with the water somehow, and I'm going like, holy cow, and that was last month and this month and okay, cost of goods sold, okay.
Right, so when you do a financial statement, you separate the COGS from your fixed expenditure. So that you see where the costs are coming from, and also when you calculate your break-even point, you gotta know what the COGS are.
So our button gallonage is pretty close to our buck gallon, I mean, our sold gallonage, you know. That's what I was
Well-
getting out of this.
Well, I want to qualify that in my report, I state that doing it, the methodology that we have done before, we do it by month. Well, certain month, the way we take it could be 2 or 3 days short of actually the calendar month end. Well, that is 5-6%. That makes a big difference. So, if you go by day to day, so I keep, daily reads on the Walter meter and figure out what the hourly flow rate is and how it changes. So on a weekly basis, we do it at Walter and we figure by day. So that is about 12% or so. So it makes, it really actually makes a big difference.
From 43, that's not bad.
From 43, it's excellent. So I read about what is belonging to AWW. I read a number of articles and I think I share them with you too. That it's very common, 30 or 40%. I know utilities is 50%. Why do they care? Well, water has been relatively inexpensive, but it's becoming more and more expensive. And this is what I'm driving to in my proposed report on the performance, that our water is going to $4.40 per 1,000, 63% increase from where we are now. So the cost of non-revenue water is going to increase very fast. So we have to be sharp and we have to focus on reducing non-revenue water. And going back 6 years, I'm sorry, I'm wandering off here, Mr. Chairman, but I'm very passionate about this. So if you calculate last 5 years, how much money have we lost of non-revenue water? It's over $2.5 million. And we just pass it on to the consumer, which this is our cost, okay? No, we gotta have a program to reduce the cost of operation. And that includes making this operation more efficient. And we are fixing a leak hopefully here tomorrow, the day after, on Alamo. So it's an ongoing thing. And every day there is a new damn little leak somewhere, trust me. And I'm very, very afraid of Main Street, old cast iron pipe. So I'm sorry I wandered off there.
I've got a question on the fire hydrant program. Your report indicates you found 4 that aren't working. What, are they repairable? Are you gonna have to?
They're-
Is it
they're-
just better off,
They're done.
cheaper to
They're
go in and replace them? What's the plan?
They're fixed. To date, we have actually, as of September 15, 93%, 775 have been completed.
They're all working.
They're all working,
Okay.
unless you have a fire, of course.
So we've got 7%, that'd be another 50 units to go.
Yeah, they should be done. And we also, looking at the pressure, that's important.
What was the reason why is the hilltop pressure low?
Because the tank is right there. We don't have much of that.
Head.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's not, it's supposed to be 35, 30.
35,
Yeah, 35, so we're a little bit
20,
short there.
20, 35.
So can you move it 100 feet and get better head pressure? I mean, the
Well-
fire department's got pumps on the engine so they can suck. And
Right, but with this is our problem in the ox tank, and I think Frank, you asked that question and I sent you a little report. Why can't we use the whole tank? Well, you gotta have suction pressure on the pump. You gotta have certain pressure coming into the suction of the pump. there is a lot of safety in there. But you need certain, suction pressure on the pump for it to lift that water pressure to the next level. So that's part of the reason why the ox tank, we can't drain it all the way down. In case of if I don't think there's a problem. But according to the standard, the norm, we're supposed to maintain a certain level in that tank. And obviously with the hilltop, and the hilltop, we empty and fill probably a few times a day. But may I just add one little thing? You remember all the issues that we had with the city on the meter? That the meters didn't make any sense. And they had issues with it. They replaced some component parts over the years and this and that. So now I monitor it twice a day, 8 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock before I go home. And that flow is all over the place. It's almost like they fill Heights Water District at will. There is no set line. So then you see how we use it. So I have a hilltop and ox tank that flow out of those because we have mag meters, so we can tell. The difference is whatever comes in, and one day we even had a minimum of a negative. Negative means they didn't fill it all, so we just drained it down. Anyway, that's
Okay, well,
sorry
if
that
they're,
wander off here.
well, if you think there's problems in terms of how they're operating that tank, why don't you outline those in a letter to the board so we can understand it, and then we can discuss whether we need to bring it to their attention. I think that's a reasonable thing to do with the business partner. So let's try to quantify this and then we can work on a solution.
We are working on replacing the valve. I'm wandering off here a little bit, so
Well,
yes, I will
I
make a note.
suggested a process.
Yep,
Okay,
process noted.
Director Escalon?
further questions from the board?
I do have a number of questions on the manager's report, but on the fire hydrants, originally you reported to us that there were 26% were operational but were needed repairs. And then you haven't since reported anything like that.
26%, I don't think so.
That was your.
That was early on.
Right,
He hasn't gone through and updated since we reached this more final completion.
But
Oh.
that was, I don't think we were into the program the way we are now.
no, but
Unless
what you
it-
told us is that 26% needed repairs but were operational. And then you haven't told us anything since, so have you been making those repairs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And some of
Okay.
those needs repairs, it's as simple as adding oil, replacing some O-rings, knocking the caps loose. It's not actual function stuff. It's just, it's minor repair stuff.
There are quite a few component parts in a hydrant, believe it or not. But Adam, who probably done most of them,
He did a lot.
he did them for the city as well. And he's surprised how good conditions are. Well, we are actually surprised that they're all operational
Okay,
at this point.
it's just helpful to update when you give us that information and then don't follow up.
Right,
So,
try to follow up.
okay, so the question on page 52, the board chair or the board president had recommended that you have a credit card so that you can make the Amazon purchases, because we did have trouble getting actual invoices from staff who were using personal Amazon accounts. And you reported that you do have a district credit card, but we've never seen your credit card bills. Are you not using it or?
I don't charge
Okay,
ice water, anything.
okay. So I guess I would like to make a suggestion that either you or someone in the office who has a credit card set up an Amazon account so that purchases that the staff make from Amazon, we can get an actual invoice. and not just a delivery notice. Cause we did not get actual invoices from the individual who made 2 Amazon purchases. And I think that's more just a power struggle, because it says directly on there, click to get the invoice, but there was no invoice.
Well, may I recommend, because Josh does most of our purchases. And that he set up an account, he has a credit card. And set up an official Heights Water. So you can go in and see what kind of transactions have been made.
It'd be probably appropriate for
Right.
management to have
Right.
that centralized
Yeah,
authority.
just
Right.
somebody that does it, it's, and obviously, you know, a mistake was made and a personal purchase was made on a credit card, which is an accident, but if you have a separate account, that won't happen. So for business, okay, so, and I noticed that we're getting the videos up on the
Yeah.
website, which is good, but we're not getting up the minutes.
Well, back up here a little bit, where does the minutes come from?
From the board meetings.
Oh, okay, so,
So the June minute should be there, the July minute should be
okay,
there.
okay, when,
Well, as soon as they get approved
yeah, and when is that?
at the meeting. This is September. The
Right.
June and July minutes have been approved.
We just got the board meeting minutes, what, 48 hours ago?
I'm not talking about the August minutes. I'm talking about June and July that you had for 2 and 3 months. So those are not up.
They're not.
No,
I don't have all the corrected minutes, I don't think.
Well, I'm talking about the last minutes.
I'm not. I'm talking about minutes
I'll
that
give it-
are
give it.
well corrected that have not been posted.
Oh, but anyway, go on.
So. But I did notice that we spent $300 with Morrison Merrily teaching Josh how to convert the audio files to WAV, so. That process is also, we've already spent that money. I did converting the audio files to MP4s so that they can be posted.
There's quite a few of them from 2020. 23, 24. It's a process.
Very time.
I know it
So-
doesn't take so much personal time, but it does take time for the process to.
They're going up.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Oh, and then on page 52. I think the general manager had asked that you, or excuse me, I think the board president had asked that you post the contracts and agreements online so they were available to the public. And you said you were not comfortable with that unless the board made a motion and voted to provide web access to contracts and agreements. So I would like to make a motion that we approve posting contracts and agreements on the website. Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, discussion? Well, I'm gonna support the motion. I get we're a public body. These are signed agreements. We've had people in this room, our customers asking about, what's the deal? Well, they have a right to see those contracts. They're public documents. Any document in our possession, they have a right to see. We post them, they can see them for free anytime they want to. If we don't post them, they can come in here and waste a lot of staff time trying to find them. And we're not in the game, we're not playing the hide the pea game in this district anymore. So I think we should post them.
And I've looked into it and it shouldn't be a problem. The question is, what agreement? You mentioned the city. I think this is where it first came from. What kind of agreements do we have with the city? And I think the public would like to know that. But
Find them all.
right, with the city, but we have other signed contracts with vendors.
The motion was the contracts with the city. That's what our motion is. That's all we're gonna discuss now. You're off the topic. Director Urban.
When I worked at the county, every contract was made public. It was made public, went through the purchasing department and You know, it's total transparency. Some of the small stuff I did with contractors didn't have to be, but any of the major contracts is all public record.
So, I think my point, I realized the first one was the city. I've already looked into that, shouldn't be a problem. But, the category of contracts, what,
Even the contract for the cleaning services should be there. It's a contract, a signed contract. Period.
right, all our contracts normally would be signed by the president, so
Yeah.
all the signed contracts that have been done by the chair, the president. Okay,
Or if you sign a contract with somebody, that should be there too.
and we go back, what kind of time frame? Start 1 year?
1958.
Well, how about this? Why don't we, let's just post the ones that are currently in force. That will narrow it down. We don't, the ones that are completed and history, you know, somebody wants to see them, we can
Sure.
waste, you know, expense staff time searching for those, but the ones that are in force now that we're obligated to live with, you know, we can poke those. Perhaps if, you know,
So I'll accept that amendment to my motion. Will you accept for a second? Okay.
all contracts in force should be posted. Okay. Comment from the public. Seeing none, further discussion from the board? From our manager?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm just asking.
yes, please, Jen, your comment.
Keep in mind that with the contracts, it might take a little time to get the contracts up and loaded onto the website, because there is pertinent information on there that would have to be taken away. Like.
Could you give us an
account
example?
information, or if you want contracts for like our Blue Cross Blue Shields, some of their information, because it shows children's information on that, so that would have to be deducted.
okay,
Yeah, I think the general manager can take steps to redact private sensitive information. before posting. I'll trust your judgment on that.
another benefit is that I asked them, can we make it searchable? So it could be searched, so you're looking for, let's say, the city, you know, it would show those contracts or health insurance, it would show those. So they told me, no problem. Those files can be pulled, searchable.
Thank you for that debate. Seeing no further discussion, the motion before the board is to ask the general manager and staff to implement a posting process for all currently enforced contracts respecting privacy concerns. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Anything more in the manager's report? Seeing none. Move to item number 12, old business. Members, I had sent an email, item number or sub item A, the reconsideration of resolution on arbitration dispute with the city. We got further information from the contractor that was not posted 48 hours before this meeting. There was a lawsuit in the city of Billings against the school district 2 because they made a decision without fully disclosing a document that they relied on to make the decision. So, you know, we can take that chance, but, you know, honor the law. I think the proper process would be to do the proper posting and, you know, and then call a special meeting and, you know, deal with it there. So, you know, we fulfill our needs to honor the law. So I know that gets everybody excited about having another meeting. So when do you think you want to do it? Any suggestions for a day and a time next week? Should be pretty quick. Director Graves, what do you got?
I'm good except for. Sewer plant, yep. Anytime Tuesday, as long as I get back, take to a doctor's appointment at 4.
It'd be too hot to go. It'd be too hot to go.
Should. It doesn't matter. And the 25th, I think I'm tied up the 25th in the morning.
Okay. Well, has everybody got a Tuesday morning availability?
Yeah.
Okay, you wanna do early morning or late morning?
9 o'clock is fine with me.
Okay, you wanna do it here, you wanna do it by Zoom?
Here.
Okay, it's fine with me, so let's schedule up a special meeting next Tuesday. The 23rd at 9 AM here in the boardroom. And agenda item number 1 on that special meeting will be reconsideration of resolution 03-25. And anybody has any suggestions on what you want to see in that resolution, why don't you send those by email to the chairman, hear me, and then I will work with the general manager to work cooperatively and collegially to get that thing in shape for that Tuesday morning meeting. We'll need to get it posted by this Friday at 5 PM. To meet that deadline of 48 hours.
I have a dentist appointment next Tuesday in New York.
Oh, that's right, you were gone. And I didn't put that on my
But
calendar.
I think,
We should be,
I think you can handle this. Really.
you're flying out on Tuesday?
I'm
No,
coming
you're
back.
coming out, you're leaving later this week. You're coming back that day. See,
So does Wednesday work? David, I forgot what you said about Wednesday.
Wednesday's fine. We can do it at 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning.
So why don't we do it
let's
Wednesday?
do it Wednesday at 9 and
I'm actually coming back on Wednesday, sorry. I'm coming back on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay,
I'm terribly sorry, but.
no, you're not the only guy in this demographic that's dealing with dental issues, general manager. I know. So,
How about this Wednesday?
Yeah, make the 48 hours.
Yeah.
That way.
Oh, yes, it does.
yeah, he'll be absent.
But I don't know if you need me because.
Well, that's the question. We can work on it prior to his departure.
Right, and the information I'll send you.
Yeah. Josh could fill in.
Yeah.
If we have questions. You'll just need to try to be around the office when we have our meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's go Tuesday, the 23rd at 9.
Back to Tuesday,
Yeah,
Breaking my
the 23rd.
yeah.
at 9 o'clock. You bring.
Coffee and donuts.
Yeah.
We don't have a donut done. Okay.
Get those powdered sugar ones.
Okay, next item on old business is reconsideration of resolution 03025 on appointment of committee to study a preferred provider plan. And this was a suggestion brought forward by Director Graves. Director Graves, would you like to make a motion to reconsider that resolution?
No, because I think it's important to have representation of employees.
employees on it, cause it is affecting them. And their health plan and this and that. I heard it was objection to it, so.
Director Ewald?
I'll just tell you how it was, when I was on the fire department and also with the city council. They have an insurance committee, and I'm thinking there's like 2 from the Teamsters, 2 from the fire department, 2 from the police department, plus city administration, plus 1 retiree from each of those Teamsters, fire and police. And they get together, and I don't know how often, and they do this stuff. So I don't think it's a conflict of interest. I mean, it's worked really good.
Do you think this, well, the resolution was for a study of a preferred provider plan? Does that indicate that there will be negotiation? I mean, the concern the general manager raised, and I think it's a decent one, is that it should not stray into negotiation, because that might, that interferes within, could,
That's how the city's preferred came about, is through that insurance committee,
so.
because everything was going up, 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 up. And as soon as they did the preferred, man, it stayed the same for 5-6 years. And then it didn't go up very much either after that. But that committee meets, and they're the ones that came up with the deal, and then it was voted on. But
Director Ellis, you had your hand raised.
I would say the school district does exactly the same thing, and I think the county does as well, so that's just a normal process of operation.
Director Graves.
My school district did it, and they felt it important that you let the employees have a part to make decision on their health care and their insurance. And I represented our school for years, and I was the one they sent to meetings by myself. And I reported back to the committee.
So what's your pleasure? Bo, we need to hear from you.
Well, the first task I was empowered with when I came here was work canceling our agreement with the census. Now, who is the census? They're doing the management, or did, or our employees with money. So what was wrong with that? Well, we had an agreement in place to manage our employees' money. And I continued to pay those invoices because the unintended consequences would have been horrendous. So where are we now? We have barely implemented the change order to Fisher and
Or this is a different contract than we're talking about here.
so
What are we to learn from that experience? I guess
What?
is request.
what happened was, it was a very unfortunate situation that we try to correct. So we try to come up with a different kind of plans. And it's clear to me that the 401k, the pay plans, healthcare, you bundle them all together. We have a very, very, very good program at Heights Water. And that's one of the reasons why we are getting employees, no problem. And that's how we retain employees. The average employee's been here over 10 years. So listening to their needs, it's important. And when there is a clear intent to cut healthcare plan, there is no employees that would sit on a committee and figure out how do we cut it. So the question is, and I proposed this last year, that we review what you're saying, what the employee can afford, what can they do? And perhaps do it over a 3-5 year schedule, but the shock and all, is not a good idea. I don't advise it.
Well, this is about a study, Bill.
Right.
This is not about a decision.
Oh,
It's about
I
a
agree.
study.
I agree.
So I think you're making assumptions again about where the board is headed, and, let's not do that.
Right, but that's what all our employees are doing right now, and you deserve to know it.
Well, that's the point I have with somebody involved in the study, so they could participate and ask the questions and hear the answers. Director Graves.
Yeah, first of all, it's important to have an employee on it. Cost of insurance, went up 8.5% again. And when we negotiate wages and things like that, it's important for the employees to understand that their bennies, health insurance, disability, this and that, it affects their increase in pay in that too. And when they're part of that process, it's easy for them to go back and explain to the other employees why this is happening.
Director Urbanbaum.
Who is gonna respond to Bo if this is a study? This is to look at the situation, gather information, and then come back to the board. Listen to the employees, what their interests are, talk to the insurance companies, and gather information. That's what this committee is for. And I would, be fully supportive of having the employee on and that's what this resolution is
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
is to include an employee.
Director Ellis.
So we're kind of off track. We should make that motion before we have the discussion. So I'll make the motion for reconsideration of resolution 030-25. And for the, to allow the president to appoint a district employee and 2 directors to the committee to study a referred private plan.
Motion by Ellis, second by Urbanbaum. Further discussion? Comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none, I think it's been pretty well discussed. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Bo, would you put a memo out to the all employees seeking a volunteer or to serve and then if you get one, then get it to me and I'll make a decision. Get one or more, I'll make a
Do
decision.
you mind if I ask them to kind of select or elect a person they want? I noticed your email said.
They can, however, whoever decides,
Right.
however whoever decides to
Right.
apply can
Okay,
visit on his own without us managing that process. We need to respect, individual initiative here, I think. So next item on the agenda, consolidation study committee report, Director Rewald, what do we got?
Okay, so I called Morrison Merrily, Curtis Shaw on Thursday, I believe last week, and I asked him what the status was. He says still on the back burner, still waiting to hear from the city. So I was in the process of calling Chris and cause I'm dialing the number, and my wife walks up and shows me the news announcement. Chris is one of the 5 running in Michigan for city administrator. So I go, oh, I better not call him. Well, then he was supposed to find out by Friday and nothing's come out, so I called him Monday. And I says, we gotta find out what's going on here. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I go, well, I came to you in July, right after our meeting, that's 2 months ago, and I says, we still haven't got nothing from the city. He says, well, I'll meet with Debbie tonight and I'll give you a call back. I didn't hear from him, and Lewis called me today. And he says they're still working through some stuff, and he called Curtis and asked him to send him an email of exactly what they need yet. And he was kind of wanting to have another meeting, and I go, I think we need to wait until you get the email from Curtis on what the city needs to provide. And then if it's stuff that they can provide, that gets provided, then we have our meeting, and so that's pretty much where it's sitting right now.
You know, I would like to add my impression with, at that, you know, communications after the last meeting from, you know, Assistant Director DeRay was that she needed time to go through a bunch of stuff, so I think the ball may be in her court or Debbie's court rather than Curtis DeShaw's court, so.
Well, Curtis is the collaborator, and so
Right.
that's why I called him.
Right, yeah, the question was what information does DeRay and Debbie want to provide to Curtis?
So he's supposed to be sending an email to Lewis with that information. That they need, that 1889 needs to finish up their part of the study.
Well,
And so,
Jennifer's concerns were all on the financial part of the stuff, and she said she needed time to study that. When I talked to her to try to boost her, she said, you know, what's the hurry? I said, have you seen what's gonna happen to our rates? You know, we kind of need to, you know, get some answers here. We're just trying to do our job as directors to protect our customers. So I hope we can get some response from them in a timely fashion, but.
if I don't hear in a week or two positive, I'll ring bells again.
Time to rattle the cage, I think. Thank you. Director Erpenbach, Preferred Provider Study Committee Report.
I'm ready to meet next week.
Okay,
If I can get an employee name and figure out, I've got most of the week open.
Okay.
Except for Tuesday morning.
at this point, okay. We'll keep going one step at a time, but you know, fall's here and plan renewal period is just around the corner, so we're gonna have to get going, so. Okay. Next item, 13, new business.
1 and 2 are taking.
We got item number 3, potential for revision of fire line policy. Thanks for presenting that information. Bo, there's no resolution attached. What, I guess,
It's for.
you wanna make a presentation on this? And then I've got some questions.
Well, so the question is, where does this fire line charge come from? And, make a long story short, in the interest of time, there is no documentation on how we arrived at our rates. So there are, standards out there on how you calculate that fire line rate. So, it really starts with the cost of your O&M, your operating and maintenance. A big portion of our cost is actually for fire protection. Okay, Bo, what are you talking about? Our tanks, much larger than they need to be. Because when we have a fire, you're talking about 1,500 gallons per minute. And those tanks will drain down fast. All of our pump stations have at least one, if not 200 horsepower pump. They're almost exclusively there for fire protection. So the cost of the tank, the cost of the pumps and the equipment, all of that have to be considered when you figure out the fire. Well, how do you figure it out? So you take the pipe size squared and you have a diameter. Well, it's not a volumetric calculation, but you calculate on the size of the service to prorate that O&M expense. So I have done some of those calculations and they're way different than what we're charging our customer. And I also look at the city on how they charge it. So what I suggest is that we come up with a new policy, adopt a policy, and then see how the calculation and the rates will come out. And Josh and I've talked about it. There's a big change for the smaller customers, that we reduced quite a bit. And the larger customer will increase substantially, so it's a big shift, I'm not talking about 10 or 20%. Big shifts, but we have to have a standard, a basis, a policy based on the fire line. So it is a cost to the customer, and we need to charge them based on what size pipe and what our operating expenses are. The city is like 1.25%, and I think I calculated ours about 1 point similar, very similar, but not charged to the customer in a similar matter at all.
Here's my concern as we start this process is, we've got, from my perspective, the board's got a responsibility to the interests of our customers. And, you know, covering our cost of operation is one thing, but also, I mean, the historical knock, frankly, is that, we've had an uncompetitive situation for new businesses to come into the district. And the fire line was one of the costs that has discouraged, for example, restaurants and larger businesses that the code requires fire line to be present. So, you know, we need to serve our customers with potable water, but, you know, I think as members of the community who provide them service, I don't think we want to be a barrier to other businesses coming in to provide public services. And there's a perception out there that has been verbalized that we have. So I want to make sure wherever we end up doing, we are competitive so that these businesses don't just keep going to Shiloh or King Avenue West, because I mean, honestly, there's 34,000 people out here. There should be a lot more service type businesses that people can take advantage of. There's been a disconnect. Something's wrong. We got to get it fixed. You know, let the people of the Heights have a decent lifestyle without having to drive to the West End for, you know, a restaurant meal or whatever it is. So that's the mindset I'll become, you know, asking as you begin this process.
Right, I think it starts with a policy though, and we have not had one for fire line, not that I can find in the bottom. Based on the calculation, so it starts with the basic, and then I make a proposal, and then you can modify it.
It's as for the last 2 years, when all these issues come up, you know, there has been no policy.
Right.
60 years the district's been around, no policy. So we're playing catch up. Let's get it done. Let's get something reasonable in place that allows economic development out.
Right.
Okay, item number 4, approval of service truck bid policy. This was, whoops. Director carried this. I believe you worked on this policy. Do you want to make the motion for adoption of this policy?
If I can get it out without coughing.
Make it short and sweet.
Okay. I would move that the board would pass resolution 40-25, which is the service truck policy bid policy.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Erpenbach. To save the Director Carey's voice, we'll have the general manager discuss give a brief rundown of what the policy is. Mr. Anderson.
Well, it's start with the bids, the specification, the requirements, and I think some board member think that this policy assures lowest bidder win. That is not what we're doing here. We're saying the lowest qualifying bid, which is important, as we'll bring up here shortly about the trucks that Josh and I proposed. So I think it's a very good policy. It's anything over 80,000 needs to go out to bid, advertise just like the city. And we are saying equipment over 3,000 have to become in front of the board. So it's pretty straightforward policy.
Is there a discussion, Director Ellis?
Well, the only thing I object to is the scope. Applies to all staff, board members and contractors in the procurement of vehicles or equipment exceeding 3,000. This is a vehicle purchase policy. The $80,000 is specified by law. I just think that should come out. It has no relevance to a vehicle purchase policy.
How would you work?
I just eliminated it. It's just irrelevant.
Right.
What page are we looking at?
Page 104, eliminate scope.
Mr. Chairman, you could have compressors that exceed that amount. You could have a number of different things that exceed the $80,000 amount. This is equipment. This is not just vehicles.
It says service trucks.
Yeah, this is a bid policy for new service trucks.
We do have another purchasing firm, and I believe their Josh was saying 7,000. So this is contradictory.
Right, it should just come out. It's not
Right.
relevant.
I have no problem with taking it out. I agree with.
Are you buying equipment
You?
with the truck? You're not, are you?
Excuse me.
Buying equipment with this truck, you're just buying the truck and then you're moving
Right.
the equipment from
Right.
one to the other, okay?
Right.
So you're proposing, Director Ellis, just to delete the words above 80,000?
No, I'm
No,
saying eliminate number two. It has no relevance to a vehicle, to
Right.
purchasing new service trucks.
So would bids be required for a $50,000 purchase? If that comes out of there?
It's 80.
Well, we can
He
require it.
could spend up to 80 on his own?
Nope, the purchase policy says he can spend 4,500 on his own. But the law requires that if you spend 80,000, you have to have bids,
Formal bid.
2 consecutive weeks in the local newspaper.
right?
Well, yeah, that's the state law. The question is, what's our policy gonna be? That's what I'm trying to get to. Where do you draw the line on what he can do without a bid?
I think you draw the line at vehicles. If there's a vehicle, if we're purchasing a vehicle, we need to have a bid process. Regardless of whether it's 30,000 or 120,000.
And what about the other types of equipment?
I don't think it belongs in a service truck. And it probably shouldn't be service trucks. It probably should be new vehicles.
Okay, directors, we got a mismatch here. From my perspective, I'm not prepared to vote yes on this bid policy if it's limited to new service trucks, because I think it should be broader to include, as Director Carey said, other types of equipment that are significant purchases. So,
Well, we do have separate purchasing policy. We have another one.
you do.
Yeah, we do. And I think it says 7,000. What's that?
Wasn't that past March or? April?
Right. It was
It
passed
says
some time ago.
4,500.
7,500,
Okay.
Yeah.
I think is what it is.
So I
We'll
totally
be
agree
working-
with Pam.
we'll be-
For a change. So you'll tell them.
Now, that's the cooperative and collegial collegiality I'm after. Thank you so much, sir.
But I agree, eliminate paragraph 2, totally, and I rewrite it, but if you pass it with that notification, I can do it.
Board members, are you comfortable with that?
It should, the bid policy should be, department vehicles, water district vehicles, if we have to get a new car. That would fall under this.
Yeah,
too, wouldn't it?
yeah, Not limited service truck.
Yeah, not limited
Yeah.
service trucks,
They didn't.
all department vehicles,
Okay,
automobiles. So that backhoes and stuff like that would.
okay, so Director Ewald, why don't you make an amendment to change the title and eliminate that section? We'll get a second and then we can see if we can get it passed in that shape.
Bid policy for, make an amendment to have it say bid policy for Conner Water District building sites, automobiles. Autos.
Vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's use the term vehicles.
Yeah.
And the second part of the motion,
And that would be the scope that Pam wants taken out.
correct.
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion? Comments from the public? One first from the general manager. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Speaking up.
when we do the automobiles, you're gonna, government is great. Do you want to dig through 16 to 20 different pieces of paper because you don't know the difference between an automobile and a pickup? I mean, this is really dumb. You've got policies to purchase equipment. Is equipment construction equipment, or is it just a compass in a level? You're gonna write a different policy for every one of those things? This policy has gone out to this board. It's been out with you guys for over a month. You've been dead ass silent. Nothing.
Well, it's before us now, we have a motion, so your objection is, your criticism is noted, sir. So is there further discussion of the motion? Okay, the motion is to amend this proposed policy to have it apply to read a bid policy for new vehicles and to eliminate section 2 scope in its entirety and renumber the following paragraphs. Everybody clear on that? Okay, let's do a roll call vote. All those, please call the roll.
Director Ellis,
Yes.
Director Erpenbach,
Yes.
Director Ewald,
Yes.
Director Graves.
Yes.
Director Carey,
No.
Director Osman.
Yes. Amendment passed. Is there a motion to adopt the policy as amended?
So moved.
Motion by Ellis, seconded by Erpenbach. Let's grab voice vote. All those in favor indicate in favor by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Carry as a nay. Motion passes. Okay, item number 5. Approval of new service truck bids. This was brought forward by the general manager. Does somebody wish to make a courtesy motion to adopt resolution 41-00? Actually,
What do you
that
want?
is
The misnomer.
that is a mistake in the
4125.
yeah, that's right, in the agenda, but I think it's proper on the resolution itself. It's 41-25. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
Get into it.
It is on. Page 130. directors. I don't get a motion here in the next 30 seconds, it's gonna die for lack of a motion.
I get just a question before a motion, please.
Absolutely.
So somewhere in here, there was a $50,000 ask. Is
Now,
that,
this has been revised this afternoon.
oh, okay. So does the 20,000 insurance come off of the 43?
Right, well, we got that check day before yesterday.
So it's only gonna be 23, 600,
Yeah, that sounds right.
okay. I make a motion, we go along with this, with resolution 4125.
I second that.
Any manhole.
With the understanding that the insurance proceeds are used to reduce the cash.
Yep.
Correct, we got that.
Yep.
What, motion's been moved and seconded, Director Ellis, discussion.
I just have a question, because the motion says 43,000, whatever. But the bid in the Denny Menholt thing says 47,286. I don't see 43,000 anywhere as a final bid. So I don't know how you.
Okay.
Can you point and? Bo, do you wish to
Right.
redirect to Josh so you can tell us where to find the number?
Well, if you look at the base price is 41,700. And then the V8 engine, whatever is 1,500, which turns out to be about 43,000. And Doug West from Denny Motor have an email to us back in August 18. That verified that price of 43,249.
That wasn't in the packet, right?
No, but his quote was in there.
Yeah, but the quote was 47,000
It's
something.
43. I called and confirmed that with him. There's no dealer fees on government purchases.
Okay, so it just wasn't provided to
It
the
just,
board.
it wasn't, and I didn't notice that till earlier, did it on the bid. 47. But I talked to him earlier this week, last week, just to make sure that number was still good. He said yes.
The original email you got was from August 18.
Right, and that's why I called and asked again, just to make sure, because it had been a month. You know,
Yeah.
Prices change all the time, so I wanted to make sure it didn't move.
Yeah. We got a new policy here, things are, can be a little iffy first time through, but we'll tighten it up the next time, so you can go out and see what you want and then come back with a definite recommendation. I think that's important then we can start looking at a final product and we don't have to,
It says 43, 240.
49, that's all we're gonna spend.
And that's actually at 26, all the rest of them are 25.
Correct, that one has to be ordered, so.
So you get a whole year on it.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 41-25 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed nay. Motion passed. Item number 6, revised employee performance rewards. Anybody wish to put this on the floor? We're gonna move on. There's been no motion.
Could I make a on this?
That there, If it's not on the floor, it's not up for discussion.
Okay,
You can you can communicate with the board after the meeting,
okay.
personally or by email or whatever, but we're
Yeah.
not gonna take time on a subject that's not on the agenda, hasn't been moved. Item number 7, Black Mountain customer billing. That's resolution 44-25. As can we have a motion for adoption of that resolution?
I move to approve resolution 44-25, adopting the Black Mountain customer billing component.
For a second,
Second.
motion to adopt 44-25 by Ellis, seconded by Erkenbach. Is there discussion? Yeah. I like, I like this change. As a, customer with multiple commercial properties, I like to be set up on auto pay, as, just to make sure, my obligations are met and, if there's issues with bills, I'm still able to contact the vendor and deal with those. Had to do that with respect to my city sewer bills last year. I did get them sorted out, they were all covered odd periods of time, but when I analyzed it over the complete period of time, it was correct. So that resolved my question. So I think this would be a good thing. And if if you achieve the efficiencies that this is proposing in terms of increasing auto pay and billing by email, what are you gonna do with the extra staff time that's freed up? That is gonna improve things for the customers.
Another big savings, and
Is this place for
might not look at this, but the number of shut offs. Don't pay their bill for one reason or another, they forget. This program will kind of remind them to pay. That's a big expense, the shut off. It's a nuisance for the customer. Every time we have to turn them on, it will cost more money, of course. So the statistical information we receive from this outfit is tremendous. So you're right. I suggest they take out knitting lessons or something.
Perhaps we could consolidate staff and reduce costs to our
Well,
customers.
absolutely.
It's just gonna everybody has to do this if we pass this.
No,
No, it's just to enhance the customer experience doing business, ease of business.
I don't know that either, and they,
And only that, but we can notify customer instantaneously when we do road work, repair, shut offs. So there is a lot to this program, and what's nice is that it's integrated with Black Mountain 100%. So the posting time and all that sort of thing.
further questions from the director?
Can you see history of payment?
Yeah.
Usage? Is that in
The
this?
customer has no due payments. I mean, the amount of people come, oh, I didn't know I owned that much, or, oh, that's why.
No,
That happens all the time here.
history of payments or history of usage.
Yeah,
Is that gonna be
yeah,
included with
all
this?
around, and it's just enhances, and I think most utilities have this, most, so we're a little behind. It's not like we're taking a gigantic leap forward.
Mhm.
We're just keeping up with the rest of the world as far as I'm concerned.
Question,
Yes.
Director Remote.
this Black Mountain part here isn't gonna be as confusing as the bookkeeping or budgeting, where we can understand how come they split this up, they split that up.
It's not really an accounting software.
Well, then, don't we have Black Mountain that helps with the budgeting, and we got. all kinds
Yeah,
of
it's just a
issues
little
with that?
dovetailed in.
So is this gonna be a little bit more smooth line than our budget, or it splits up those, we don't know who we're paying what? If it's staff or what, I mean, there's,
You know,
we've had a lot of issues with Black Mountain
Sure.
budget.
Well, yeah, Anyway,
Separate
it
component.
would help us all around, because now by account, we have more details. Payment trends, usage and dollars and cents, so it should enhance the whole operation in many different ways. And customer service, delighting the customer, we haven't done that in a long time. So this will help our relationship to the customer, hopefully.
When do you propose that this would be rolled out and marketed?
It's been in the work, not implemented, but it's been in the work. There's a lot of preparations, but I don't think it will take very long at all.
So should be in place before the end of the year.
Yes,
Within the next month or so.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I was after.
So like I said, his whole dovetail is not like we have to have a lot of programmers coming in here like the city did and combine bills. No,
Plug and play. Okay,
no.
questions from the Director Ellis?
So does this eliminate the other billing program that we had?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that should almost be, because that was reasonably expensive, that should almost be a wash. How much do we save if we don't purchase that?
I don't remember what the cost, but yeah, that goes away.
Yeah, because that, and so how does it change bills that are printed?
I do not think that portion is changed.
No, the postcards there, that's all still stays the same.
That, okay, all right.
Well,
No,
we
this is
want
just
to
an
eliminate,
online,
we want to eliminate those postcards. That costs
Right, but their
$3,000.
current system is really incomplete. I mean, the history isn't there all the time. It's inconsistent when you get the notices. So hopefully if it's more automated, it'd be.
Yeah,
like
Well,
most
I mean,
of
our,
this ties to Black Mountain where BDS is kind of.
ultimately, our goal
Bolted on.
is to reduce those cards. It costs a couple of $1,000 to mail them out to hand. I mean, talking about spending a lot of time, and we just tell our customer, you will receive your bill on the internet through our portal, or emailed to you or text to you, but no more in the mail. I mean, how many bills do you get in the mail? Very few, probably.
No, I've
Every time
I've
I go to
been
the
waiting
bank.
for that for years.
Well, it's everything on bills today. It's these promos, today. And anyway, we're moving forward, and I think this is really a bigger step than you think it is for Josh, don't you?
Okay. Questions comments from the public? Now further discussion from the board.
Well, one more question. real fast.
Director Uwald.
So everybody will get, if we go with this, then all the bills will be sent out either email or text or whatever. You won't get it.
No, you still get in the mail, the little cards.
Yeah, it's,
You gotta
It
opt
gives
in
you
to
the
go to
option.
email billing.
Yeah, it's an option, just like the city.
But what I'm saying is fast forward a year, forget that little card. I mean, that's expensive, takes a lot of time. And there's always something wrong with them.
And they're easy to get lost in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the little card, you gotta look for in the mail.
Yeah.
And so at least we have 6,100 customers. There is at least 200. I never got it, I don't know the answer. That's the problem.
I found my neighbor's water bill in my front yard.
Pay it.
Oh, I took them across the street, put it in the mailbox. Okay, we're well off the subject now. Let's further, seeing no further productive discussion, let's put it to a vote. All those in favor of adoption of resolution 44-25 to adopt the new electronic billing system, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion passed unanimously. Members, I seem to have skipped over resolution 43-25. This was brought forward from the general manager to us. Yeah. Okay. It's 141 in your agenda pack. So, is the board ready to take this up, is my question.
I like that. It's, it's written so that you can, you read that.
I want to make a motion to adopt.
Well, for page, 457, I deal with a subject.
Yeah.
Looking at a.
In the,
a
we thought it in the
resolution is
report,
The
yeah.
end result. And, personally, I have the long-standing policy, both encourage our employees to take courses, learn, so that they become more valuable to themselves. If they're more valuable, they're happier employees, more productive. And if you can supercharge that by recognizing the effort, the monetary is only one way. And I think the board should recognize Jennifer for what she's doing. The pay increase is one thing, but we depend on our employees. Our number one asset is not the pumps or the tanks. You could take the tanks and
We're
pumps.
way off the motion,
So,
and we haven't had a motion yet, General
Okay.
Manager.
okay,
So does somebody wish to put this before?
Yeah.
You better find. We'll take another run at it. You're gonna have to find somebody to make the motion.
well, I got the message from this board. I got the message.
Okay, so seeing no further business before the board, we have a meeting scheduled next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Bo and I will work on the arbitration stuff, get the opinion of the lawyer that makes that shape. If you have email requests that you want things included in that resolution in terms of board participation or anything else, presentations to the board prior to negotiations with the city to keep us informed, please email that to me tomorrow. And Bo and I will try to get it worked out, circulated to you so we can get it shaped by Friday. That sounds workable?
Can I just ask a question about?
Yes.
So Andrew charges 16,000 and we only saw a 2-page letter. Has he done other work that's in writing that we could read and review next Tuesday?
Well, I did talk to him this afternoon. Knowing that we would be talking about this. What are some of the things I could tell the board that you feel are a shoe-in with the negotiation with the city? And if there are a few items, I can ask him to articulate those in more detail.
Yeah, I think that's what the resolution includes. We want some specific presentation on what he's planning on bringing forward. And before, for 30 days are over. Okay?
Yep.
So thank you for starting that process with it. So, okay,
Tuesday, 9 o'clock right here.
Tuesday, 9 o'clock, any further business from you guys?
Frank's Spring Coffee and Donuts.
Okay, seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned.